Greetings, my friends. I want to tell you all about my new channel, Pop Culture KO, a channel where I'm going to experiment and try out some new things that I can't do on my main channel here because the algorithm discourages innovation and trying out new formats. Pop Culture KO will be more eclectic, with movie and TV reviews, game reviews, reviews of classic movies, YouTube shorts about rumors, and videos starring Harvey Cthulhu, the Skull of Calderon, and Omniback himself. Go to youtube.com/@popcultureko or youtube.com/theharveyzone and subscribe today. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do. We need your help. Thanks for watching, and now on with the video. Greetings, my friends. I am Dictor Van Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, broadcasting from my hidden base at the center of the Earth, and I'm here today to talk about a terrible form of abuse that parents are about to unwittingly inflict on their children this long Memorial Day weekend. Look, I know it's tough to be a parent. I understand the constant pressure exerted on parents by kids with infinite energy and infinite capacity to yell and jump around and set small fires. All that is a given. But that's not an excuse for the terrible abuse that many parents will be accidentally inflicting on their kids over the next 3 days when desperate parents, willing to do almost anything to shut their screaming kids up at least for a little while, will lug their kids to see the sad, shabby SJW live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. Now, why do I say this is abuse? What else would you call deliberately ruining a classic film experience for your children? Wonderful experiences at the movie theater are rare, sacred things. If you take your kid to see a cheap, ugly, corrupted version of a beloved classic, that's abuse as far as I'm concerned, because you're metaphorically taking nutritious food out of your kids' mouths and shoving junk food in its place, stunting the growth of their minds and their souls, and indoctrinating them into the wonderful world of woke. Folks, we all hate spoilers, but what else is a live-action bastardization of a beloved classic than the ultimate spoiler, where every possible plot point is revealed, every song played, every nuance uncovered in the worst, most bland way possible? Sure, there are differences between the two movies, like the fact that these songs have been rewritten by sensitivity police who want to make sure these songs remain as stilted and joyless as they've made real life these days. But overall, once you take your kids in to see this dead-eyed, soulless vandalization of the real Little Mermaid, those kids will never be able to enjoy the surprise and delight of the original classic film in the way that we did back in the day. You're starving your kids of quality entertainment that will light up their eyes and engage their souls and enrich their imaginations, and for what? To reward Disney for cannibalizing the past, eating the original Little Mermaid, and then crapping out a digested pile of shit remake for your kids to dine on. You're paying Disney money for a shoddy forgery of an authentic work of art, and if you do that, I ask you, don't your kids deserve better? But all that said, in this video I want to go over some of the reviews of The Little Mermaid to give you an idea of what to expect if you do go. I want to look at some of the worst reviews posted on Rotten Tomatoes because I hate the very idea that this Stepford Wives of a remake even exists. But then I'm going to look at the reviews that Rotten Tomatoes deems fresh, because a lot of those reviews sure don't seem fresh to me. A lot of those reviews are saying the movie sucks.
I really love the original movie, Doomcock. I think it's pretty much perfect. It moves along at a good pace and manages to do a classic movie justice in only 89 minutes. Whereas this piece of shit remake is like 2.5 hours. Yes, almost an extra hour of extra crap songs written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Just what I wanted. An underwater Hamilton with realistic dead-eyed fishes and photorealistic crabs rapping. Good Lord, and I thought I was perverse.
Folks, I'm really hoping this bastardization dies on the vine, because Disney shouldn't be rewarded for blatant acts of self-cannibalism. I find it a hopeful sign, however, that this morning when I checked around 10:30 a.m., The Little Mermaid was not trending on my Twitter feed. It had been trending for a week or so because it was sponsored, but not now, thank God. I want to be clear. The original animated Little Mermaid is one of my favorite animated films of all time, and so I take this vandalism and desecration personally. But let's look at what the reviews are saying, folks. Let's start with the negative reviews, then we'll go to some so-called positive reviews because they're hilarious. We'll see if we can't hit on the truth of things. Right now, The Little Mermaid is sitting at 67% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and while the audience score is sitting at 95%, I don't believe that for a minute. Because Disney is desperate for this movie to succeed now that their stock is threatening to go into free fall. I'm told by my sources Disney must have this succeed. And so I suspect a lot of those audience ratings at this point are bots, hired shills, and of course woke wankers who are review bombing in reverse because, hey, if you don't like being served a substandard version of a classic, then you're a racist, naturally. Under these politicized circumstances of great desperation, I'm very mistrustful of the audience score in this particular case. But let's see what the reviewers say, because the Rotten Tomatoes score was sitting at 70%, but now that more people have seen it, it's dropped to 67%, and that can't be a good sign for the mouse crap tears at Disney. Red Hyan Simon Pillai says, quote, "The beautiful animation that kicked off the Disney Renaissance is recreated here with Windows 10 screensaver graphics." Unquote. Oh, ouch. Of course, we all knew that much from watching the dreary, murky trailers for The Little Mermaid, but I'm grateful for outsider confirmation that it's not my vision that's impaired. It really does look like shit. Sarah Michelle Fetters says, quote, "For the poor, unfortunate souls hoping The Little Mermaid will either equal or surpass the animated version, disappointment will be their unhappy bedfellow. At a whopping 135 minutes, this reimagining of the 1989 animated classic is almost an hour longer than its predecessor. It adds unnecessary details, elongates scenes, adds a few anemic new musical numbers, and features an abysmally staged dance sequence in an outdoor marketplace that's shockingly horrible. Like with The Lion King, the pursuit of photorealism with these digitally created animals robs them of any opportunity to emote. While the talented vocal cast gives it their best shot, all of their performances are aggravatingly unnatural. The deadness in each character's eyes send constant shivers down my spine, and in large part because of this, signature musical numbers like Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl, don't get me started on the new lyrics for that one, left me cold." Unquote. Yeah, does that sound like a fun time at the movies to you folks?
It sounds something akin to the experience of having your head chopped off and stuck into a bubble of entropy. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry about that, Skull of Calderon, but you did try to raise an army of the dead to destroy me.
Well, you didn't have to take it so personally.
Well, perhaps not, but perhaps so. But I digress. Kshitij Rawat says, quote, "While the original The Little Mermaid dazzled with its beautifully imaginative underwater kingdom and talking sea creatures, Rob Marshall's remake is a soulless cash grab, utterly devoid of any hint of charm or visual whimsy. Instead of vivid colors, here you have drab grays. Even the green and blue of Ariel's getup are so washed out that it looks as if she emerged from a muddy puddle rather than a freaking ocean. No, The Little Mermaid is not worth watching. It is a deeply cynical attempt to capitalize on nostalgia, aiming to squeeze every last drop of profit from a cherished tale without investing the effort to honor its essence. This is a corporate product, through and through. It lacks the heart, the imagination, and the artistic vision that breathed life into the animated classic. Also, these films, the Disney live-action remakes, are always made by filmmakers who fail to instill any personality to the narrative, and more often than not try to redo the film almost frame by frame. The result, like The Little Mermaid here, is always a pale imitation, unquote.
There are a shitload of reviews like this, Doomcock, telling the obvious truth about this insulting rip-off hiding in woke clothing. But the positive reviews are pretty much the same.
They are, Harvey Cthulhu. Look at this review from one of the top critics, Peter Travers, quote, "While it can't match the effortless charm of the 1989 animated classic, this overstuffed live-action echo fills the title role with shining new star Halle Bailey, who gives this musical just the oomph it needs, a heart that sings and a spirit that soars," unquote. Now, Rotten Tomatoes considers that a fresh review, Harvey. Oh, Travers has to praise Halle Bailey's performance. Everyone has to praise Halle Bailey's performance because, you know, politics and virtue signaling and all that. But even as he praises her, he admits the movie can't match the effortless charm of the 1989 animated classic, meaning it's not as good as the original. So why on earth would you go and bother to watch this ripoff? Travers flat out admits the bottom line. You're better off seeing the original, which you probably already own. So he admits there's no need for this movie to exist. Then he calls it an overstuffed live-action echo before giving the obligatory praise to Halle Bailey because woke reasons. This is a fresh review, folks? Colin Garbarino gives another so-called fresh review, and what wonderful things does he have to say? Quote, "It's just a serviceable attempt to do what the 1989 animated film did for Hans Christian Andersen's original story from 1837, updating an old tale to appeal to contemporary tastes," unquote. And Jonathan W. Hickman in his review, which Rotten Tomatoes also calls fresh, says, quote, "The classic story gets a modern facelift with fresh, diverse casting and some initially stunning effects that are marred by a murky action sequence that brings the film to a befuddling conclusion," unquote.
So he has to bend the knee and say how wonderful the woke casting is because reasons, then admits that the ending sucks?
Exactly, Skull of Calderon. And so, my friends, I think I've made my case. I advise you not to pay Disney money to insult you with a shoddy, woke, inferior remake of an animated classic just on general principle that you shouldn't reward a company that shows you so much contempt. They think you'll pay money to see a worse version of a better movie you've already seen and probably already own. But beyond that, it sounds like this movie pretty much sucks. Surely this Memorial Day, you can find something more rewarding to do, like washing your car, mowing your lawn, or getting out your DVD of The Little Mermaid and treating your family to something magical they'll never forget. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.